So we're doing dinner. It's late afternoon and it's Thursday afternoon. Brutus is my ram. He's a big dorper boy. Jasper, get out. And Jasper's my billy goat. Brutus is pretty quiet nowadays. Can you stop that? Never used to be. Come on, away we go. Jasper, come on. You do have to be careful because Jasper will smack Brutus, and if you're in between them, sometimes you'll get caught. Oops, excuse me, girls. Can I have my foot back, please? Biscuit, thank you. That's a bit messy. That's a bit, your yard's got to be cleaned out. This is all good garden fill. Come on. Good boy. Favourite part of the day is lock up and grain. Now, it's just a grain mix with a bit of DDG and chaff through it and a mineral mix. Vitamin mineral pack, and there's a little bit of molasses in it. This is made by Ray Hayes stock feeds in Grafton, New South Wales. I don't give them a lot because these guys are all in really good nick, and they just get this little bucket, about 4 kilos between the lot of them, once a day. Mainly have it for the lambs and the mums because they're due. So Coco here is due, and BH at the back is due. Don't think Maddie is unlikely to have a kid. Oreo here, Marigold is her lamb, that's Brutus, and then you got Biscuit. I don't actually think Biscuit has taken. I suspect that she is maybe infertile, but we're going to give her the next 12 months and just see, because we did get from some other people. She is Coco's older sister. We're just going to wait and see if maybe she just needs a bit of time with the ram to drop. Yeah, so they get let out every single day. I do hay bales, so you can see this is their night yard. The fencing panel is just the temporary fencing panels from Bunnings, the hardware store. It needs to be redone, but currently it still keeps dogs out. They get locked up, so they're out each day to graze. They get locked up each night with a little bit of grain. I'm just going to pause this and lock the gate. There we go. Nothing fancy, it's just a rope lock. Has a little bit of give just when anyone presses up against it. They've got an old canopy as part of their shade. I've got a milk crate in there that I will sit in here when they've got fresh lambs, or even just when they have lambs in general. I'll spend probably 30 minutes 2 or 3 times a week, and I'll just sit in here and I'll feed them out some pellets. But they've got their water trough over there with the hose. But yeah, so they have all this to graze. They do tend to go into the tree line, and particularly as it starts to dry out more, they're starting to wander a bit further afield. Always scope out the tree lines and a little bit further in with the dogs before I just let the sheep out each day. Because we have had some dingo or wild dog activity, and I'm probably one of the few people who has livestock, who has sheep, and doesn't immediately jump to lethal force. I have a pack of dogs, so the dingoes and wild dogs, whatever you want to call them, are usually quite, I say usually because there is exceptions to every rule, but they're very lackluster about taking on rival packs of dogs, which my dogs present a rival pack. And so they act pretty safe, but it's generally considered pretty safe for us here, for them. But you can see, like, this yard is 6 years old and really needs to be redone. But a big project. It's a whole day because the ground here is incredibly hard. But I will eventually just pull it all up and I'll redo it, probably section by section. My husband hates these sorts of projects, so it'll have to be something that I'll probably end up doing on my own just so it's done. But I'll probably wait until it's not so flippin' hot, because even though it's April, we've had some really nice days. I've been able to get some other stuff done. We've had a spike of temperatures going up to 33, which I think is like mid to high 80s Fahrenheit, so 33 degrees Celsius. 35 the other day, but either way, it's just, we should be having some nice workable days, but we've just had a real spike. It was real humid and muggy earlier. I was actually hoping we might have gotten rain out of the temperature spike, but seems all the clouds have well, there's a little bit over there, but seems it's all disappeared. Unfortunately, it's looking like it's going to be a very dry, very brisk winter, and kind of very sad about that, because wet winters are usually better. If we can go into a nice wet winter and then go into a wet spring, we usually get much better pasture regrowth and stuff, but we'll just keep on top of it. I don't have the best pasture to start with, that's why I have Dorper and Dorper crosses and rangeland goat, because pretty much they'll do well on very poor quality pasture. With very little supplementation. Like I said, the grain is largely for the boys don't need the grain at all. They'd be fine. And we have really bad days when the pick gets really, really low. We do have hay. We've got a mix of roads and just quality meadow hay, which they'll just get a round bale put in there once a week. We try not to... I always want them to eat more forage. If I don't have to pay to feed them, even better. But you can't just leave them to starve either. So you kind of got to balance. I try and keep a moderation of purchase feed, supplemental feed, and having them forage for their own tucker. They're also going to be drenched tomorrow. I should drench them today, but honestly, it's hot. I'm a bit run down. I've still got to sort dinner out, and I've going to have a bit of a lazy day today, and just go start the dogs nice and early. It's about bloody 3 or something in the afternoon, and I will. Oops, I've zoomed in. Sorry, and I will call it an early night. It's been a long work week. I've still got one more day, but tomorrow's only a short day, thank Christ. If you aren't aware, I work pretty much intensely, just long night shifts. It's not unusual for me to do a 10-12 hour night shift, and it's rough as guts. And I work with a lot of chemicals and stuff, so as much as I have safety gear and stuff, you just get fed up with it. But yeah, I have to get that fence hammered back in, because that is a very good dog-sized hole for them to squeeze in underneath. I have to go get the sledgehammer for that, because this ground is just way too hard. I wonder if I can... Yeah. Pick and choose your battles. Dogs, wild dogs, dingoes will opt to go underneath a fence rather than over it or through it if they can. Foxes will also sneak under that. Not that we've got foxes with the dingoes. These guys are coming down for a sticky beak. I gave them 2 kilos of sunflowers between them earlier today, so they've got a good fat load. Because we are getting cold nights. These guys are probably the main improver for my pastures, because they will camp out here and just... Much like cattle do. Come on! Much like cattle do, they'll set up a camp and then they'll just defecate where they set up a camp. This is one of the new guys. The others are all locked up, but he made a great escape. And he's not quite been fully accepted by my original geese. So he just kind of is making his way down. We'll go see the other new geese. So these guys are very good for soil improvement. Just if you ever decide to have geese. Oh, he has got a friend up there actually. Come on! You two are dawdling. Because they have such a wet stool, they also add a lot of moisture. Sheep, these guys in particular, are very efficient, and so their pellets are very, very, very dry. The geese have a nice wet manure, and so it helps add to it. But we're hopefully going to get some round bales to just throw across this paddock, go across lengthways this winter, which will hopefully help with moisture retention. And also when it rains, it'll act like a natural banking sort of arrangement and bank the water up and not wash all the seed head and stuff straight down the hill. You two are dawdling a bit. Come on. Oh no, you two are original ones. Must not be the new guys. What are you two dawdling for? But yeah, so geese and sheep, goats too if you are so inclined. Very good for like early livestock for your homesteads or small properties and stuff, because like I will say the main issue with geese is like if you want them to be like good guard animals, you do need to have a big flock. Like I downsized my flock a little bit just because I had a couple of juniors who were a bit more problematic than they were worth, so we sold them. But to really be effective guard animals, like big flocks are what you need. But if you just want them for like soil improvement, geese are very, very good. Sheep as well are very, very good. If you can, you know, depending on how you keep them. We lock them up and I just muck this out every 8 to 12 weeks. Just rake everything up, muck it out. Any old hay and stuff just goes in with it, and I use it to fill my garden beds. Oh, you have to forgive me for having a snot nose. It is, as I said, very, very hot, very dry today too. So the geese have actually spent most of the day up the dam, which is fine. Because if they defecate in the dam, it just becomes liquid fertiliser. But these guys are all pretty much on the same ration at the moment, to the extent that they are foraging as much feed as they can, and then they get fed once a day. These guys I have to get fed twice a day because I will give them a little bit of a night time. So these guys are probably getting 3 kilos between them. I'll probably introduce the new geese over the weekend. Now they've been here for almost a week, or at least the last few days, and pardon me, and that'll bolster the numbers up, and also more genetic material. Hello, George. What are you doing, big fella? You and your ladies. They're pretty tame this time of year because I give them a lot more Treatos. Kind of wish I had oak trees and stuff, because something I quite often get told by some European friends is feeding them acorns. Acorns are apparently a big thing in parts of the world to feed geese because they're full of calories. Unfortunately, I don't have any trees that produce acorns, so it might be an investment later on, but that's probably like a 30-year turnover anyways. But no, these guys do pretty good. They're very efficient converters of roughage into good meat or good eggs. We'll see how the winter goes. We might do a large hatching this year. I'll let them keep more eggs than I normally do. We might even see if we can maybe, with the new birds, might even see if we can do like 100 goslings and keep a few new mixes. But we'll go check these other ones out. But yeah, so these guys are, I've got the blue bucket, which they're also fed from, so I kind of hope I might give them a hand out, but they also know they've only just come from the sheep, so they're not going to be too pushy. But we'll go check these other ones. There's a bit of cable. This all needs to be cleaned up. This was a scrap pile and just, I guess you'd say, a general dumping area for miscellaneous items and dirt and whatnot, and we slowly got the mower in here the other day and mowed all of this, and got to get in here and clean all this up. Put some wood chip and stuff down and start the next series of gardens and fences down there for more garden expansion, which probably sounds a bit wild considering I've barely got this under control. But since I've sort of rounded down on my species variety for livestock, I'm slowly getting this a bit better under control. Definitely focus a bit more on production. The meat ducks are still here. I still haven't got around to dealing with them. This bed is going to get topped up this weekend. The saltbush is doing really well. I need to crop a heap of it back, take the berries down to the chickens and, pardon me, and take the growth to the sheep and the goats. That broccoli is done its bit, so it's going to go to the sheep and goats. My lily pillies, 2 of them have died. The bottle brush are doing really well. The gardenias got wilting a bit in the heat, so I have to give them some water. Bottle brush again. The other 2 lily pillies are now also just sort of fading away. Despite regular watering, they've still end up just fading and dying on me. I'll probably still try and salvage them, but I don't have a whole lot of expectations for that. But yeah, the saltbush, that's a native plant, quite a handy plant to have for fodder and stuff. The chickens really like the berries, so I'll just take the berries off. You can eat them yourself. They're not bad. They're sort of sweet celery taste with a big seed for a little berry. But I'll crop some of the berries off into a bucket and take them down to the chickens. Chickens love them. And the sheep and the goat will just eat the bush itself. This all needs to be watered really well today. Considering how high I had this bed packed up. You can see it's settling and it's dropping down. That tends to happen. Cabbage, we got parsleys are doing really well. This is another cabbage. I think that's actually going to be a wombok. But I've got some sugarloaf cabbages that are coming up really, really well. The dogs are going to be barking because they want their dinner. Eggplants are still producing really well. Quite happy with the eggplants. I do need to get in and clean this up a bit. The pepper plants are also still producing. This one's just had like a whole big flush of new flowers and peppers come up. They're not hot peppers, they're just sweet peppers. We don't really do hot peppers, like my husband will, but I don't, and I don't cook with them. I'm the one that does most of the cooking and he doesn't use them, and like he'll eat them sometimes, but he won't go out of his way. There you go, another eggplant or aubergine. Aubergine, I think they call them in America. Or is it courgettes? No, courgettes are zucchinis, I'm pretty sure. Endive's doing really well, some of it. Endive doesn't like being wet. So some of it where it's gotten wet is a bit icky. Rainbow chard, rainbow silver beet's a bit sort of sad looking. Again, this is another pepper plant. Again, it's put out a fresh flush of flowers. Again, more eggplants, more aubergines. So the geese that are in here are giving these plants a bit of a hard time. Like I said, I have to tidy up in here, pull out some of the endive from underneath and use that as a fodder for the animals, and I'll probably start cutting back the zinnias. This is a garden bed. Largely this one's just full of greens. Oh, pardon me, sorry. We got kale. This is a red kale or a Russian kale. Pretty sure it's a red kale. Doing really, really well. I will crop it back brutally once a week. And either use it as fodder or I dice it up and use it for soup stocks and whatnot. I will put it in salad. My husband doesn't really eat it, so he's just a picky bastard. But that's alright. My choy is still doing really, really well. Not worried about. I've got some, I can't remember what herb this is. I think it's like a mint. Hang on. Yeah, it's a mint. Vietnamese mint, I think. Could be a basil. It smells more minty than anything else. A couple of weeds still coming up, of course. But yeah, so that's doing really well. Marigolds are still chuffing. This is an African giant, I think. I actually thought I planted an orange and a red variety, but I didn't realise it was just all yellow. But that's fine. The bees like it. It smells great. The carrots are doing really well, considering I thought I scattered the seeds exceptionally well. These haven't been watered today. Again, the meat ducks, that is an old girl who needs to be done in, because she's, the person I got her from didn't, know the best of nutrition, and so she's got some leg issues as a result. She's actually come really good since I've had her, but she's on free feed all the time, and they're on a good feed, which can make the world of difference, but she'll still have to be done in. She's got really good condition on, so I'm not actually terribly worried about her. She just looks rough. But yeah, the carrots, considering how I thought I scattered them pretty well, because I don't tend to plant carrots in any particular way. I've never really had luck like doing it in a particular pattern or anything. I've got a couple little just cluster sites, but that's fine. I'll just thin them out as they grow. Always do a bit of weeding around my carrots. And I like to water them well, but also don't try to overwater them, because I have had rot set in previous. So they're to the stage where they just get a really good drink every second day. I had a good drink yesterday. The soil's nice and moist underneath without digging down. The radishes need to come out, realistically, but I'll probably harvest them on Saturday. These are French finger radishes, if I remember correctly. I could have that wrong, so forgive me. This one needs to be mowed and mulched and then cardboarded. I have laid the cardboard down very thickly down here, and I'll start putting wood chips down here over the weekend. This bed will get finished off tomorrow. You can see there's bones and stuff. This has got all my old chicken waste from my chicken pens into it, which will mortify a lot of people. It's also been very heavily limed. I will get in and I'll do another layer of lime. It will get wetted down really, really thoroughly again, and I'll top dress this with just some soil mix, and I'll plant directly into this for some leafy greens for the winter. The bugs quite like it. One thing I will say, when I do something like this, I do try and water it. Like, this is something, as much as it's not growing anything, I'll try and water it every day, because it just helps it settle in. And when you're adding things like lime, it will help disperse it. And the lime is basically to sit there and counteract the acidity of the chicken waste and whatnot. It helps also like combat like nitrogen or urea poisoning. But yeah, so it gets a lot of insect activity. I'm not sure if you can really pick that up. Also, when you wet it down, the bugs and stuff like to get into it a bit more, so that works really, really well. As I said, like, I just compost directly into my garden beds. My garden beds are also made entirely out of old fences, so fence posts, old corrugated like roofing material, and fence panels. Those are fence panels from privacy fences. Some of them have got like the rails. Yeah, that's it, the rails. And like, these are 6 years old and still chuffing, still going strong, no problems at all. Are they pretty? No. Are they rough as guts? Yes. Are they effective though? 100%. So yeah. I've been cropping and weeding down this, and then just again covering it with plastic. My turmeric is starting to die back, so once it's all finished dying back, I'm going to really hook into that garden bed, because I'm going to need it sooner rather than later. And I'll keep putting more and more cardboard down here, because basically I'm going to need this bed, because I will be having my parents coming to live with us, and I will need essentially more cropping space to do more food with, because my parents love vegetables. They will eat a lot more than what I can grow currently. Like, I supplement what I grow, like supplement their current diet with what I grow, and we obviously eat a lot, and I feed a lot to my animals. And some people are like, oh, just don't feed it to the animals. Not everything I grow is fantastic for human consumption. So the animals like eat what like the rest of us won't eat, essentially. But yeah, so that's all happening. Because life is just getting hard, and so my parents are just going to find it easier to come live with us for a bit until they sort of get on top of a few things, which is, you know, fine, fair. My mum's an avid gardener, so she can come help in the garden. My dad's always happy to do some labour for me, so, you know, instead of paying towards anything, they'll just do me a bit of labour here and there. Fruit trees, some starting to fall back, like my persimmon is starting to drop off. I will say, like, this all needs to be weeded and cleaned up. This bed is going to actually be, we're going to take all the Besser bricks up, the cinder blocks. We're going to just do bits of tin like this and fashion that. I should get in and do some pea crops, but I'm not going to. That eggplant needs to come out because it is just up and died on me. That one, I actually didn't think that one was going to make it. I thought that one was going to make it, but because they were transplanted. But that one's actually come up really good. Anyways, I harvested my persimmons because the birds and the possums were starting to just eat them. I just left the ones that they had chewed present so they can feed on that. Oops. Apparently I missed the pomegranate. I did harvest the pomegranates. Could have left them a bit longer, but the tree's looking pretty sad, so it's going to get a really good fertiliser. Same with that one. Hopefully rejuvenate it, ready for winter, because they will go dormant once it cools off. Orange tree sort of just looking fantastic. Or no, it looks rough as guts, but it's not doing anything. That one usually just flowers but doesn't produce fruit. This one's looking a bit sad with the leaf curl, but it flowered really, really well, and it's got an abundance of fruit coming up. I'm just trying to keep on top of the stink bugs, unfortunately, because they are why this just comes off. They cause all the fruit to die off. So I might get a bumper crop, I might not get a bumper crop. We'll just have to wait and see, unfortunately. The stink bugs are a problem, but I am going to have to get in and treat this all the same for leaf curl, leaf miner, gall wasp. This one will be a bit of a project because I have left it because it is such a good producer. I don't want to jinx anything too badly with it. Because if I don't have to spray or treat them with anything, I won't. But yeah, I'm hoping it hasn't got too much damage and I'll still get a good crop off of it, but we'll just wait and see. The other orange and mandarin tree down here have fruit already on them. I'm not going to bother going all the way down. The goat has been thinning out the oranges a little bit, not too badly, so I'm not terribly worried. The mandarin tree's also got a nice crop, which will make my dad happy. And I've just got to pull my finger out and get the rest of the peach trees all cut down. I also really need to get in and fix the netting, the roof of my orchard. But that is what it is. Those are the current foregoing projects. We've got a bunch of tree clearing and fencing to occur as well, which will all happen as it cools off, as it continues to cool down. Because currently, you can't work when it's this hot. It's too hard. It's too dry. But the new geese, those are the new geese. The oldest of them is 3. The youngest of them are 12 months old, so they'll be right and ready for breeding soon. The finger limes are doing well. This one didn't really fruit this year, but I did sit there and crop it right back. Cleaned up the base of it. This one is fruiting really well this year. It's got little fat round fruits. They take a long time to develop, I will say. Once I've cropped the fruit off, I will cut the lower branches and start to build it up too. Same for this one. This one fruits very well every year. And some of those fruit look like they're pretty much ready to come off, so I'll probably start looking at that soon. But again, I need to get in, crop the lower branches and just start building them up. Get them to come up off the ground a bit more, just because it makes it easier to maintain underneath them. You can see where I've cleaned up the bottom of this one. Yeah, everything in here needs a really good drink tomorrow. just because it's been so hot. Should I do it today? Probably, just because it is a very hot, dry day, but at the same time, we're starting to get very limited for water, so watering's got to be spread out and planned. I've only got a half day of work tomorrow. I'm just coming back to get my bucket. The asparagus, this bed as well. So all these pots will get shifted up. And I've got some horse remains and stuff that are going to go in here. Skin, bones and stuff, because that'll build up the soil as well. I'm going to crop this back first. I keep meaning to pull the whole thing out and find a better spot for it, but it may end up just staying here and I'll just use that as a fodder. But yeah, so all these are going to get pulled out. And I'll lay the bones and the head and stuff in here, and then we'll just top it up with mulch and soil and stuff, and it will just break down and we'll add more growth and stuff. My pet sheep is actually buried in this same bed. So that's something you can do, is like if you have a animal that dies that is, you know, not usable for consumption or something, and you're comfortable burying them into your garden beds, you can recycle their bodies like that. And they're kind of always with you then, I guess. The asparagus will start dying back soon, so that'll have to be cropped back and folded on itself. But yeah, so this bed is, like, you can see how far the beds sink down. Pardon me. And as I said, I just refill them each year. Like this bed, again, this is the bed that we refilled 6 months ago. We had it all up to the top. You can see how it's dropped down. This one hasn't been refilled for probably over a year now, but you can see how it's dropped down. This one was filled to the top, and when I get that one done, I'll be able to show you as well, but you can see like there's only, you know, a couple of inch or an inch clearance from the soil to the like top edge of the garden bed. Same for that one. Once that one's done, you'll be able to see how high I actually fill them up, and just with use, watering, vegetation and stuff, they start to settle. We do get a little bit of run out through the holes and stuff, obviously. Not a whole lot though, because usually I get a pretty good the mushroom build up stuff. Can't remember the fungal networks and the root systems tend to just keep most of it in. But, like, obviously you're going to get some run through. But that bed, hopefully I'll finish that tomorrow because I want to plant in it this weekend. You guys will be able to see what the beds usually look like when I finish filling them, to give you an idea of how high I actually get them, and then plant straight into them, and then we start producing from them pretty intensely. I have my garden selection for my next set of crops already. I'll probably do a video tomorrow just on the beds rather than the sheep and the goats and stuff as well, and you can see what I'm planting at this point in time. At the moment, the only fresh planting I've got is the carrots, and we've got 3 different varieties, and we've got the radishes. Pardon me for the snottiness. I am getting run down and sick, but yeah. Oh, see, there's a bee. That is a honeybee. It's not a native bee. That will have a stinger, but they appreciate these flowers. I will probably try and get some flowers into that bed, but we'll just see. Zinnias I've still got growing. Mustard greens I still get growing. These now are just I just crop the tops out of them. They fork out, and then I just take the greens either to the sheep, the geese, or the chickens. The choy, again, I'm just cropping that as I desire. And either using it as animal fodder or just using it that day for myself. Kale, pretty much keep trooping along until this actually starts to die off on its own. I will not touch, I won't refurbish this bed, or I'll refurbish around it. Some of these, I've got some lettuces still coming up. I've still got some peppercress, lean cress, whatever you want to call it, coming up. I've got some cabbages coming up in here as well, apparently. Again, this hasn't been watered today. It is very hot. It is very dry. You can see how dry the soil is on the surface. You can also see how friable it is. Oh, that's an old rabbit skull. There you go. There you go. Be one of my pet rabbits that I buried in here a long time ago. So there you go. That happened. Didn't expect that to come up. Oh, snotty nose. Apologies. I'll do some more root crops. That bed will be cycled out pretty intensely for root crops. Like those radishes will come out on Saturday, and I'll do either turnips or swede or parsnips or something as well to replace them. But yeah, the kale, I just snap the lower branches off like so, and I won't do it today. and then they just keep climbing up. I will probably put some, like once I harvest out the rest of this choy in another week or two. That one's actually bolted so it can come out because I don't, oh no, I'll leave the flowers a bit longer. What happened to you, man? Okay, that's missing half its stem, still chuffing, but yeah. Anyways, I will, oh, snotty nose, I apologise so much for sniffling. It is terrible, I know. But yeah, I'll just probably build up around it because this bed is quite low. I'll finish that bed up there first before I work on this one because it's got active crops in it. That doesn't really have active crops in it. This bed is actually going to get filled up with my sorrel. I am going to do sorrel in this bed because it's essentially a permanent crop. And so this bed is largely for crops that don't require, I don't do annuals in it anymore. This is becoming a perennial, that's it. Like having some permanent crops like asparagus and the saltbush are quite good. As I said, I have done perennials, like obviously I've done some broccoli in there. But it is going to be swapped over to some sorrel, and probably maybe some herbs or something. We'll just see what happens. But yeah, that needs to be cropped back and this needs to be filled. This will take priority for filling. But yeah, so I think that'll do today. Have a good one and I will catch you next time. Take it easy.